The adverse weather conditions. I didn't quite have this in mind though, definitely not. Oh. Hello and welcome to another day of landscape photography. Now, I've had a couple of small issues recently where I've been out a few times and just come away with nothing. Now, I haven't been getting down about it, I've just been getting out as much as I can, and that's come down to today, where I'm out with a friend in the beautiful Peak District, just on a nice trek up Kinder Scout to just have a good day, enjoy the landscape and really get back to what it's all about, and that's being out in the outdoors as much as it is capturing great pictures. So I would really like it, because I think it's going to be a great day if you were to come with me. Let's go. So as you know, landscape photography suffers a little bit from a problem of the fact that there are only so many beautiful scenic views in the world. And once they've all been shot with a wide angle in beautiful lighting conditions, then getting something original becomes much, much harder. Getting the 70-200mm lens on there does really help. But the other thing that will let you get more unique shots is extremes of weather and extreme weather conditions. And today, for me, that includes slight drought conditions, because I'm here at this reservoir and the water level is really, really low. And as that water's gone down, it's revealed what, I don't know what even the substance is dark black mud. It's created this really interesting shapes with the light and the black sort of contrasted against each other along the middle. And then you're going up into the greenery of the hill behind, and it's just created a really interesting scene that just doesn't occur very often. So it's something I've decided I really wanted to capture. Thankfully, I have already captured it, because about 5 minutes ago when I took the photograph, it had some beautiful light on it, which was just really making that contrast pop as the sunlight was hitting that dark, black, dirty sand. And now it's overcast and it's not quite working as well. The way I've shot it is because I knew that this bank of cloud was going to come across. I had probably about 30 seconds to get set up and capture the shot. So very quickly, without thinking about it, I've just captured it in various different compositions, all with the 70-200. But as a start to the day, when we're still at fairly low level, it's a really nice surprise to come and see this situation that doesn't happen as often as other things. And gunfire going off over the other side of the reservoir as well. Settings wise, I am at f11 because it's a fair way away, 1/60th of a second just to get the exposure right. ISO 100, very straightforward settings. What's your Instagram, Paddy?
Yorkshire Walker.
Yorkshire Walker. The adverse weather conditions. I didn't quite have this in mind though, definitely not. Oh. Give us the cloth back in a minute. Shooting in the rain can give you some really dramatic results. You're obviously looking through the water drops on the camera lens now. It's good to shoot in these conditions sometimes because the pictures you get can be amazing, but you've got to try and keep your lens dry. So I'm using my cap as a bit of an umbrella. It's too windy for a proper umbrella. So cap over the lens, I'm wiping it clean because there is rain on it already, and then keep it covered. I'm pre-focused already on this shot, 2-second timer, and then quickly move out of the way. Has that worked? Yes, it has. Whew. So classic British summer conditions. Rain stops almost immediately as it started. And that's an interesting shot because into the valley that we've just walked up is the hills going in different diagonal directions, peaks all along through that view down that valley that we've just come up, and it just looks absolutely great as that rain is coming through it towards us, and then you've got the light from behind it cutting in down onto the clouds, and it's just creating these really, really good conditions. Thankfully, with this Canon 5D Mark IV and the 70-200 lens, it is weather sealed, so I'm okay letting that get wet. But it's just about keeping the water off the front of the lens, so when I fire the shutter, it's going to be nice and clean. And just using that 2-second timer, I'm at f11, about 1/80th of a second. I'm at actually f8, 1/80th of a second, ISO 100. I'm just keeping it covered till the very last minute as it starts up again, and then firing that shot off, and it's looking pretty good. Very dramatic shot in these adverse weather conditions. I'll give you another wipe. That rain was so heavy. I am absolutely saturated from head to toe now. I love it though, I absolutely love it. Just an adventure. Brilliant. Okay, so we're pretty much at the top of Kinder Scout now, and one of the adverse weather conditions that does not do anything good for photography is the wind, and it is horrendously windy up here. I think it always is in this part of the world. I'm close to losing my cap. I'm saturated and cold, and it just makes things miserable. However, I'm still having a great time because the photography is very good today. And one of the things you find if you ever put Peak District into any search engine on the internet, one of the things you come up with is a picture of these kind of rock formations here. And to be honest, I've never been a massive fan of those images, but now I'm here and seeing them, they're absolutely fantastic. So I've decided to get a shot. And what I'm trying to do is just to really tell the story of these rock formations, and I'm getting in as close to it with the camera as possible at a nice wide angle. So I've got this sort of rock formation here just leading you and dominating the left hand side of the frame over into that stunning view behind with some of those Peak District rolling hills. I've then got a few rocks on the floor that kind of lead you in from the bottom as well, and then I'm bracketing 3 exposures because the sky is starting to brighten up a bit again now. So I'm at f16, I'm at ISO 100, and then a shutter speed of around 1/25th of a second, and then 2 stops either side. So nice and straightforward. I'm in at 16mm, so I've got all the detail coming out of the rocks as well, and it's as straightforward as that. So I'm on a 2-second timer, already focused. There we go. Very nice. One of the great things about shooting in adverse weather conditions is that you just end up, especially when it's low pressure, you just end up with such dramatic conditions. That sort of changeable weather from raining to sunny, from raining to sunny, produces magic, like rainbows, for example. But today, in the conditions I've got here, if you look just above my head, there is a very dark cloud moving right across us. Yet, if you look down the valley to Kinder Reservoir down the bottom there, on the horizon, there's a really interesting band of light because you can still see that nice brightness there. And it's just producing a really interesting sky and conditions to shoot this image in. I'm currently standing on Kinder Falls. It's a waterfall that's today, in the drought that we've been having, or the dry conditions we've been having, has been reduced to pretty much a puddle. So there's no water running over the edge, but these rocks form a really interesting composition in the foreground, and then we go over the edge down to the reservoir and then down to those sort of rolling hills in the background. But because of that sky, it just makes it so much more interesting, and I'm trying a couple of different things. One I've done, I've bracketed images. I'm at f11, ISO 100, just to get a nice still shot of that. Second thing I've done is to do a long exposure of about 40 seconds just to smooth those clouds out, just a touch, just to give it a slightly different ethereal feel, yet retain some of the detail and contrast that there is there that's providing that image. So let's capture the image again now, because that cloud is right over there. I'm on the long exposure again, 40 seconds, 2-second timer, there we go. So I'm set up for my final shot of the day, and another thing about shooting in bad weather is that it will often end in just a beautiful, beautiful end to the day. Something magnificent might happen, or you might just get beautiful clear skies like I now have here. Now, I'm going to use that to my advantage and just have a full range of pictures throughout today, and I'm finishing with a more classic sort of Peak District shot. And I'm on a pretty steep hill at the moment, and I've got these rocks in the foreground with some of the heather starting to flower. It's not flowering very much, but there is going to be a little bit of colour in my foreground. That's then leading up over this crest here, and then just across these rolling hills that are in that nice sunlight at the moment, and then I'm just going to capture the sun setting down over the horizon. There are some interesting clouds. I don't think there's going to be a massive amount of colour, but I'm still going to get some interest in there, and it's going to be a nice yellowy, orangey sky, I would imagine. So that's quite a nice way to finish it. I'm vertical. I'm at 16mm, 17mm, so I'm nice and wide to get all this rock and heather in the foreground. I'm then at ISO 1250, actually quite a lot higher than normal, because I want to be able to freeze the heather which is moving around in these extremely windy conditions. That's giving me a shutter speed of about 1/100th of a second. I don't think that's going to be enough. There may still be a tiny bit of movement in there, but I'm just going to have to accept that. I don't really want to go too much higher on my ISO. Hang around for the final image, the time lapse and the info blast on the end screen. It's just been an absolutely magnificent day of landscape photography. We've had all weathers, all conditions. We've got drenched, and I've dried off again now, so I'm quite comfortable waiting for this sunset. It's just what makes it so much fun. And you've got to be sharp, you've got to get things right to get the shots you want, and you've got to be ready for those conditions to change. But it's just great fun, great fun, and I've had a great time. But I hope you've enjoyed this. Leave a comment down below, let me know what you think, and I'll see you on another one very soon. I'm Adam, this is First Man Photography in the beautiful Peak District. Out.